the stage. Stephen is the founder and chief designer of Exuberance Design Inc., which is China's first professional 3D printing design company. Provides customized design service, digital fabrication, professional training, and 3D printing experience shop and cafe operation. Stephen will share about how 3D printing affecting the local houseware industry. Stephen, please.
Thank you. Well, it's my pleasure to be here because I'm actually from Hong Kong. I'm Canadian, so this is the first time that I guess I'm speaking in front of so many Hong Kong people here. Actually, I presented a lot of places, and this is the first time, so I'm very happy to be here. I guess my background, I'm from Hong Kong, and then I studied architecture for more than 10 years. I actually worked for being an architect for more than like 10 to 15 years in Europe, in America, working for a lot of famous designers. And then now I'm actually the director for Southern California Institute of Architecture Asia Program Director, recruiting people, as well as I teach at Tongji University, Tsinghua University, also AA Summer School. And then now I start my own sort of like design innovation center that dedicating to 3D printing, AR, VR, and robotic printing. So my company Exuberance actually, why actually I do 3D printing? And also I have been working in 3D printing for the past, I guess, 2 years. We are the only 3D printing company that dedicating to design service in China. So we have the biggest market in terms of consumer market, in terms of design service. We started in 2014, and the reason why we started a design company, because 99% of the people that in China, they are creating machines, they are creating materials, they are providing printing service. The content is missing. 沒有某一個內容. So there's no content development into entire China right now. Everybody's about like copying, it's about like IP, and there's no original content of design. So that's something that's very important in 3D printing. Without content, basically there's nothing. Those are machines, those are metals. Okay. So what we figure out is we are not competitive with any people that are working in 3D printing because we are creating content. We are friendly with everyone. We are at the triangle top of the entire 3D printing industry. So for the past year, I have been trained about like 150 students, people around the world, including most of them are in China right now. And one thing that, this is something that in my genes here where I'm really interested is about the digital sculpturalism. It's something that I've been working on for architecture for a long time. It's about something that imagery of something very exuberant form that never be able to build it actually in the architectural world. Something really virtual reality, but something that this is the language and the desire that I'm actually working on for the past 10 years as an architect and educator in terms of form finding, style, aesthetics. This is something that I'm actually passionate about, and none of this can be built, but 3D printing happens. So what we've been doing is what Exuberance form of visualization for the past 10 years, I kind of converted into Exuberance form of materialization, trying to get imagery into materializations. In 2013, this is an exhibition that I was participating with a lot of designers in France. 90% of the people are using 3D printing to present their product, to present their design, including furniture, fashion products, and architecture pieces. And these are a lot of samples that I did for the past 10 years when I was an architect and designer in America and Europe. And then some of these are like, my students' work. We can create like products using 3D printing, metal, plastic, medical use, even these kind of like, products of skateboard, even using like, not metal printing, but you can actually make prototypes and then chrome it to become metal. And then we also work, these are my students' work, which they do utensils printing, ceramic printing, jewelry printing, furniture. So these are a lot of, and this is actually one of the workshops that I worked with Zaha Hadid in Vienna. It was a studio that we mimicking using some of the 3D printing biological structure to create 3D printing columns. And later in the presentation, you will see some of these large-scale architecture prints We do from super small scale to large scale 3D printing. So you will see the most, I would say the biggest portfolio that you will see in terms of 3D printing today. This is one of the earlier work that we did with a designer in Canada, actually, and also with Minneapolis. With the state, it was the opening show of a 3D printed headpiece design back in 2013. Why we use 3D printing? Because it was fast return, it was really quick design, 1 week of design, 1 week of printing, 5 days of delivering into the state. So that was a 2.5 weeks of design, process, production, and deliver. It was very light and was easy to use. And it was one of the best methods that to use 3D printing. And we prototype it first, and then we do the one-to-one scale 3D printed model. And then we also work with Tongji University, teach students how to do 3D printing design, to do wearables. These are some of the shoe accessories and 3D printed jewelry that we did with the students in 2015. So my company is Exuberant. So we are a company that based in Shanghai, dedicating to personalized 3D printing design service towards high-end customization project. What that means is we do customized design work for all the clients. Okay, everything is unique, one of a kind. There's not something that we do mass production, but not that many. But we do like mass customizations. Okay. So this is a company that I have in Shanghai. We have a group of people of 30 and then around like 15 designers. We work with everybody in China. So these are the group of people that we work with. We work with like insurance company, institute, and then big company like Manfo, which is Wanke. They are actually a big developer. We're also working with them in Shenzhen to creating architectural project that 3D printed columns and concrete. And also we work with a lot of the 3D printing company, for example, EOS, Stratasys, Materialize. They invite us to help up to design project that dedicating to their machines, so that every machine has a specific properties. So we design specific samples or prototype for the machine to show the best resolution of the machines. So these are some of the product that we did for the past, I would say like 2 years ago. You can see that it's very, very complex and it's very good for using lighting, sculptures, and products. And a record of in 2015 and 16, we used 7 tons of nylon powder 1 year. Okay. And then 80% of the business are B2B business. Okay, 20% are product and exhibitions. And then we compete around 33 projects a year. And we actually, as a design company, we sold 10% of our company for about $15 million RMB for 10%. Okay, so as a design company, we're able to find the investor to invest into our company to do what we want to do. Okay, so in the beginning, we actually using a lot of money to make this happen, but at this point in time, I can tell you that my company is already stable enough that I don't need the investment money already. So basically, all the projects are able to sustain the entire company for the long run now. So, and actually, this year, as of right now, we're generating around 25 million RMB of transactions of project in China. Okay. And then one of the, when we talk about the patent of a product, in 2015, we sold one of the digital model of IPR for 3.2 million RMB. Okay, that was the biggest or the largest amount of value of a design product that's sold as a digital model for 4 STL file. Okay, that we sold it to a company, they can produce it themselves, they can print it themselves, they can sell it themselves. So we sold a patent to them, we registered, we work with university lawyer, everybody in China, making sure this product, nobody can copy it. We have the IP for it, and we sold it to this company, and it's a Shenzhen company. So there are 8 series of light that we did in 2004 and 2015 and registered, and one of the light, which is this one, it was an award-winning product in the Salon de Milano. First prize, it was the first 3D printed product ever presented in the entire world, which won the award for the 58 years. Okay, and we actually present this to Milano in 2015, and we won the award. This is how we actually fabricate this. So let's take a look at this video. So we are looking at actually industrial printing application using the Germany printer EOS. This is actually the most efficient laser sintering process of how we use it in industrialized product. And probably if we're looking at the entire printing, you can print around, we calculated one tank, the biggest dimension that we can print within one box of the printing, you can print 48 of these lights. Like each of them around this big, so 48 of them in one day, okay, with one machine. And then all these materials is recyclable. So anything that you left over, these materials you can reuse it. So it means that 50% is new materials, 50% is old materials, okay. And these materials you can wash it, you can put it into the laundry. You can actually wash this product into laundry. You can use sandpaper, everything to actually polish it. So what it's doing right now is actually, after it printed, it's actually in the tank and it's full of powder. So you have to be cooled down in a certain temperature so it's not as hot. And then you remove all these powder and the objects are inside. So the powder are actually the support materials of the objects. So for example, like FDM or all these SLS printing, they all need supports. So this is actually a non-support materials. They actually supported by the powder around it, so that it almost can, I guess, it can print everything. So each of these lights, basically you just like clean it, use the air gun to actually blow on it, and then the object will come. You can actually wash it so that all the powders are gone. So this is ready to be as a product already. So basically, each of these design you can actually direct print, actually digitally design, prototype it, produce it, and then direct for consumer products. Anyway, so we've been selling this after we won the award, and then we also working with, actually we exhibited in China, a lot of the places, and been selling these, and this is one of the chain structure lamp which all printed at once. So you don't have to hook it together, it's actually all printed at once, so it's a chain structure light systems. So let's talk about it very briefly. There are 4 main points about 3D printing. First, it's never going to be designed for manufacturing. It's actually manufacturing for design. We don't compromise for design anymore. We can design first and then think about manufacturing, because we can fabricate anything almost, okay? And then complexity. We do not do simple form. We do complex form so that nobody can actually copy it. We don't need to worry about copying, and it has to be 3D printed. So no traditional way of manufacturing can be done. It has to be printed, okay? And then we do iteration. We do not do just one design for one copy of it. We do multiple design variations of the same design. For example, the light that we actually have 32 different versions of the same light product. And then the last one, which is the mass production. It's no longer mass production, it's about mass customizations, okay? So mass customization is very important. All the work that you'll be seeing in the next 20 minutes, everything is mass customization. So this is actually, after we won the award, we went back in 2016, presented a series of furniture design, household goods, hangers, stools, all using 3D printing mixed with wood as well. So we're actually working with Guangzhou, actually Furniture Department, Academy of Fine Arts, students to work with wood and how 3D printing can work together. Also, this is an exhibition in Los Angeles. We're creating a T-set table, which is very, very detailed, and you have to look at it like very, very close up. You can see a lot of detail of it. And that was the exhibition in Los Angeles. And then after that, we actually get a lot of jobs about trophy design. So this is one of the premium gifts. Most of the people in China or government, they're willing to spend money to create these one-of-a-kind customized 3D printing trophy design. So we've been working with a lot of these like trophy design, each of them creating maybe like 20, 30 of them, but it's limited edition and it's customized for every single person that getting the award. We're also working with, in Seoul, and also these are some of the souvenirs that we created, award ceremony, and this is one of the 3D printed wall that we did. There's no like specific order of these images. There's too many projects, anyways. But this is a 3D printed wall that we did for a cafe. entirely printed out of 108 pieces of FDM blocks, and then we put it together and put lights behind it, so entirely 3D printed except for the framework. And then we also work with furniture design. That was a pixelation actually exhibited in Hong Kong, in Taiwan. There's an exhibition at gallery that invite us to create a pixelation wall. So the idea was like any kind of images, you can use the images and then mathematically calculate it and then pixelize, and then you can print it with the FDM and creating an artistic piece. And then in last year, actually this year earlier, we did a architecture facade design, which entirely using 3D printed. It's about 20 meter tall, 20 meter long, and 12 meter high. So what you're seeing here in this circle here, like this part here, there are around 65 pieces of these customized panel that we use 3D printing technology to print it. Each of them you can print it. It's about 2.5 meter by 1.5 meter wide, and then you can actually print it quite tall, like 1.5 meter tall. So each of these panels are customized, printed, sanded, process it, and then move it to the site and entirely install it. And that was the final outcome of it. That was the first 3D printed facade that we did in China. And then this is an interesting one. It's a Disney project, which we work with Disney Shanghai, that they actually, we scan one-to-one of the Disney card, like this pumpkin card, and then one-to-one scale, and then we scale it down, print it in different parts, different materials, chromed it, and then we did like 12 pieces of this for the VIP gifts for Disney. And then currently we are working with Starbucks to creating utensils series, and then plates, employee cards. And then this is actually one of these products that we help Starbucks to do is one-to-one designer chair that they want to sell these miniature chair using 3D printed objects. So these are SLA plastic that we use different color of just post-processing basically. So but these are all 3D printed pieces. As well as we are working with Eastern Airline. This is actually the biggest project that we have right now. We are producing 10,000 of these VIP gifts. Each of them is we're selling around like 560 RMB per piece, but the actual cost of it, I'm telling you, is 300. Okay, so we're actually making a very good profit of like 50% of the profit of this product here. That 10,000 pieces a year. And then we have signed a 6-year contract. So this is actually one of the products this year, and then following year we will be creating different kind of products. So they are multicolored print using the 3D system, multicolor printing, and then working with the World Expo Museum in Shanghai, creating this unique gift. Each of this we are actually selling in the museum right now, so it costs about anything that we sell in the museum, we try to minimize the cost to 100 RMB and less. Okay, so this is actually be selling it at the $98 RMB in the museum, but actual cost of it is 45 or 46. Okay, and then also we get IP from one of the Finland famous chair distributor from China. So we get the IP of this, we can 3D print this exact chair, designer chair, in a smaller scale for selling. And then this is actually from a Hong Kong designer, very famous one. He did this chair back in, I think, long time ago for the president. So it's a president chair. It's actually特首, at that time they designed it. Anyway, so and then a lot of these museum work that we did, also working with a lot of designers. And then this is actually working with Freeman Lau Xiaohong, which he is a very famous designer in Hong Kong, which came to us in 2014 and asked us. He has an idea. This is an idea that 20 years ago he wants to produce, but never been able to produce. But because of 3D printing, we help him to success it. Okay, this is an idea of a cloud lamp that basically is like 2 legs and a person like inside the cloud. But at that time, if you handmade it or anything using any kind of technology, it's very hard to produce this kind of translucency, frost, patterning, and all this. So we actually help him to design from his sketch. And then prototype it, and then now actually producing this lamp for sale. And it's actually exhibiting in Seoul right now, in Hong Kong, in a lot of different places. And then this is the second project that I'm helping him to design. It was the lotus lamp. that we actually distributing in Hong Kong. Most of these temple, churches, and everywhere. So these are a lot of people buying it right now. These are very cheap too. It's like 300 to produce, and then we're selling around like 680 Hong Kong dollar. And then these are all rechargeable light on the bottom. Actually, it's a Hong Kong designer that he did all this. It's called Miu Pao. So it's a Hong Kong designer. He created this rechargeable light. You can use it for 8 hours without any charging. So we're working with him to create this kind of portable device of lighting. This is a project that we did this year as well. It was a cafe that we actually helped to do the installation. It was an installation that we create 480, it's around 500 pieces of FDM architecture tower in different continents. So there's 5 continents here. So it's an underside of a skyline of a city. So that it's an upside down city idea of a light. We actually hang it upside down in the cafe to create the mood, to create the kind of idea of upside down city and the urban city. And then we also work with developers in China where they need this kind of sculpture. So these are actually 3D printed sculpture put together and then use post-processing to actually take away the seams and everything. So it was using SLA to print, some of them SLS. And then we also work with Shanghai Tower. In 2015, we creating one of the tallest 3D printed architecture model using 3D printing. And it was about 2.5 meter tall. It's a double shell. All the members are actually twisting. So in traditional way of making, you cannot do it by any of the modeler because all the glass, all the structures are twisted. And then so you have to use 3D printing in order to make it accurate. So there's a lot of application that using 3D printing in architecture models, detailings, and that was at the lobby of Shanghai Tower right now. And also in 2014, we created the first 3D printed wedding theme. So the entire wedding was using 3D printed, customized dress, tail, even like sugar printing, cakes, and all the accessories in the wedding. 90% of them are 3D printed products. And then this is one of the longest veil. It's a 2.3 meter long veil, which you can see that from the image here where there's a box. So this is actually how it printed in a box. And then it unrolled it to a 2.3 meter long dress, okay? And each of these structures are already automatically connected. So you don't have to hook it, or you don't have to actually do any processing to it. And also we work with Materialize to work with like fashion pieces. And then we go to shows, and then a lot of the magazines, they actually ask us to use our pieces to do like shootings. So one of the biggest sectors or field in 3D printing is also the wedding industry. Okay, wedding industry is very big in China, and then everybody wants to have customized work. So we've been working with a lot of customized products. Later on, I'll show you like sugar printing and all these things which we've been developing. This is actually an idea we just recently finished this like 2 weeks ago. It was a violin that we designed. This is a rendering. We already produced it, which we printed out of an SLA, and then we post-process it with a very interesting materials that 3D system used. It's very strong, so they make it very easy to get the materials and then coloring on it, and that is the actual product. So there's no differences between the image and the actual product anymore. So what you can design, what you can produce is exactly the same. So it's unlike architecture. Sometimes you design something with the commission, and then you have so low budget, and then everything is different. Anyway, so like I'm so happy that I'm actually working in 3D printing because anything that I design, I can produce it almost 99%. And then this is one of the latest metal printing pieces of the Chinese stem, okay? That using stainless steel to print. And then we're working with Sion, like one of the biggest 3D printing company. They actually produce these for us. So each of these stems are their specific person name on it. So each of them are different, and they're printed out of metal, okay? And then this is a gift. And also this is actually, we work with 2025 Intelligent Design Conference in Hangzhou, G20 G20個峰會. So each of the people that in front of the desk, like all these members, we creating the name tag for them. So we're using the the company that we sponsor, and as well designing each of the name for the person that sit in front of it. So you can view it from the front and you can view it from the back, and it's all 3D printed, and we design it in a way that with some of these Chinese element in it. So it has to be 3D printed with metal. So you cannot even manufacture it by normal wax casting or anything. It has to be printed. This is another project that we recently finished. It's a company in China. They have a very nice Bluetooth product, which one had to have a cool watch idea to wear it. So we designed this watch using two materials. One is the TPU materials, which is a soft materials for the banner, and also we use ceramic. Okay, so the white pieces that you see right now in the middle, those are ceramic prints. Okay, those are direct ceramic prints of pieces. So it's very, very cold. If you use electronic, you know that ceramic is the best product for using for cooling. And then we work with also the aviation company to create this pin. This is very, very hard to do because actually it looks simple, but actually we have to divide it into 20 pieces in order to put it together into different color. So there's like sandblasted, there's like shiny area, there's like text on it, we have to do laser cut. So there's a lot of like procedure within this model, which you can see there's like multiple parts that put together this thing. And they only want 60 of them. Okay? So basically, you know, but without 3D printing, it's almost impossible. So this is an image which I want to show you what's possible right now. If you look at it right now, these are ceramic printing. You can do very, very small jewelry ceramic. And then this is something that we did for Shanghai Tower. This is actually the gold printing is 18K gold. Okay, and then this is stainless steel. So what you see, the smallest one is 1 centimeter of the Shanghai Tower. And then these are also stainless steel. You can see the $1 here, RMB. And then this is actually 18K gold as well. So it's actually, I think Hong Kong has one machine from England, I guess, working with EOS. So this machine actually available in Hong Kong. So these are also gold printing machines that we use. The reason why we use gold, because this is a symmetrical pieces that is identically symmetry. Okay, so in terms of like making it by hand, it's very hard to make it symmetrically exactly the same. So we're using 3D printing. Also, the intricacy of this is very, very small. There's a lot of like interlocking structure, and it's like 0.4 mm of a structure if you look at this jewelry. Okay, and then we're also working with a lot of jewelry brand in China, creating IP for them. And this is actually working with Bosco, Korean very big steel company, and they want to have a premium gift of something that metal printed. So these are some of the proposals that we give it to them, and then we are producing 3 of them. One is this, actually not this one, but here, which you see the USB key on the bottom, which is the chain structure with the square. That is directly printed metal. Okay, I'll show you an image right now. So this here actually is directly printed metal. It's flexible structure. You won't be able to do it in a traditional way. So this is actually one of the nice thing about 3D printing is you can print this kind of flexible structure. And I think that right now there's an exhibition in Hong Kong. It's about the jewelry. One of my friend is exhibiting there. They did the first 3D printed bikini. Okay, so it's like using the same technology, but you did a bikini. It's showing in Hong Kong, it's showing in Shenzhen right now. And this is another metal printing product that we did. We're selling quite a lot right now. We turn it into a USB, double head USB, and also the spinner. And then you can print, actually this is just a prototype right now. We are planning to make different shapes and different, like opening structures or whatever. So this is very flat right now, but we'd be able to make it function first, and then we work with the design more. And then also we're working with these USB, products, souvenir product, and then give it to the president in Busan. And this is one of the products that ourselves creating. It was this chopstick idea, which entirely 3D printed steel. Okay, this is a steel product that 3D printed chopstick. And also we work with ceramic as well. So one thing about ceramic printing is if you do quantity, it's almost impossible because 80% of the time when you print it, you burn it, it's going to distort, it's going to be failure. So 8 out of 10, it will be just broken. So it's very hard to use 3D printing ceramic in a larger scale. So what we did was, this is a custom handmade, also working with a Hong Kong designer, Caroline. He is very, very famous in ceramic making. He's from Hong Kong. And then I worked with him in an idea of digitally handmade it at the same time digitally printed, so that I'm actually giving him a mold, and then he used the mold to actually digitally handmade the art piece of this ceramic piece. So it's actually entirely handmade. At the same time, I have to give him this digital model and design, and then she can do it out of the molding. Without the molding, it's impossible to do it. And then these are some of the sugar printing that you can print color. And then we're also creating a series of product package that explain to client what kind of materials is available right now in the market. So some of these are wax, sugar, and then SLA, SLS, different colors of testing, and then some of these sugar actually printing, as well as we creating these light for this event. This is actually one of the best-selling product right now we have. We sold around about 8,000 of these for the past a year and a half, which is very good for in terms of 3D printing consumer products. Okay, and then this is some of the light that we use. These architectural language of like scripting and creating a light, but at the same time, I came up with the idea to creating these urnal, like what is it called? I don't know, like So actually, we can customize like all these ash bottle for dead people. So we can actually make money out of it. So we can actually customize a lot of these bottles and everything. So we're actually looking into the market of customizing these vases. One of the projects that we work with AA students that I teach to creating a spectacle about structures and how these structures becoming flexible, from hard to soft, from thin to thick. And then this is an ongoing research that what we are doing, and then we are creating a soft and hard structure of a chair. Okay, and this is the project that we are recently working on. It's under construction right now. It's working with Wanke. It's an architectural project. We are creating 48 different column 3D printed. Okay, and the way that how we did it, because of the budget, we have to only print the top part. So what we decided to do is we're gonna print like multiple pieces. These are some of the samples that we did. We try to make it open, and then we try to make it concrete as well. So you can see from this printing, each of these columns are actually very, very fast for printing concrete, but the accuracy of it is very, very low. Okay, and it's almost impossible to flip it. It's too heavy. So that was a good research. So later on, like there's a lot of constraint on concrete printing. This is one of the failure time. When it's too heavy, then look at the left side there. It starts to fall down. So now everything collapsed. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, and then we were having fun with the students, and then we were trying to like do cake printing. So these are actually using flour, and then we print cakes using the robot, and then we bake it after. And then we're working with, because of the idea of 3D printing column, we have to look for alternatives to do the columns. So these are some of the design that we did, and then it's very porous, very open, and we use metal tubes on the bottom. So this is the final design that we have, and we're actually doing a lot of prototyping, a lot of testing of 3D printing and using metal mixture, and this is the construction of it in Shenzhen right now. We did this actually in silver, but actually they don't like it. They want it to be more monochrome and concrete, so we actually spray paint look like concrete now. So we are doing 48 of these. Each of them cost around 20,000 to 30,000 RMB. Okay. Another very big sector is the movie industry in China. So movie industry China is the biggest one right now that we have with clients. We are creating a lot of these armor design, costume design using different materials, and then transparency, solid, and then testing the idea of how to make it like look old, look new, and look reflective, non-reflective. So there's a lot of materials we can study. So every time we work with the materials and also work with like the softness of it, and then working with the traditional people that painting it. So there's a mixture of handmade and digital fabrications. Okay, it has to be like that. It cannot be just digital fabrication. It has to work with the existing industry, and then working with them, knowing what they cannot do and what we can do for them. Okay, so this is very, very important. And then this is actually shooting right now. So I'm not going to tell you what movie it is. It's going to coming out in half a year. So this is actually one of the movie that we are shooting with the person in it. And we're also doing a lot of weapons design and also mechanically driven pieces, and then using 3D printing to actually work with the technology. Okay, and then how much time I have? I don't know, I'm halfway through, I think. Anyways, doesn't matter, I think it's fine. So this is another project. One day there's a client came to me and asked me, can you design a car for us? And then I said, what kind of car you want? And then I said, something futuristic. And I said, can we do something that is like a sphere that roll, and then something that cannot be possible, not a traditional car way. So I was looking on the web, like these are the circle, the sphere that you can rotate, you can move around. So I took that idea and then designing the entire interior, exterior, everything, and I give myself some trouble because there's no way that you can fabricate a sphere not using a 5-axis CNC or something that fabricated using 3D printing. So the entire thing we use 5-axis CNC and a lot of 3D printing part within it. All these parts are 3D printed, and then at the same time we have to install light to make it possible for actually use for filming. And then the door was like, you need to open and then automatically open. Some of them, there's a lot of trouble. We've been working with this for 6 months, and then now it's in the shooting scene. So let me show you one of this is actually the final product right now, and then this is actually an image of how we're not possible to make it roll, but we make 2 cars. One is without any hardware inside, you can roll whatever you want. Okay, and this one is you can open all the doors but cannot roll. So we make 2 sets of sphere. Okay, so that is the one that we are shooting right now. They are now like filming and whatsoever. This is a project that recently finished with Freeman Lau. It was a design that Hong Kong and Shenzhen Design Center. They just recently signed it with Jiang Yubao, and also all these people in the government. So this is a design center in Shenzhen, bridging the idea of design center and bringing people from China and Hong Kong and bridging to have some exchange. So that was a design logo that done by Freeman Lau. So he was asking me, can we do something for architecture? Yes. So I did using this logo to help him design the facade design. Basically using the pattern, how to make it 3D, and then thinking of the idea of customizing it so that you can use any curve to creating the facade movement. We were thinking about using 3D printed panel because it's actually available and it's doable. And then so this is actually the proposal that we presented a week ago. It was in the event. So that was the up and coming project that we are looking at to use a 3D printing product for it. At the same time, we're creating this USB for it. This is the last part. 5 minutes, I got it. Okay. So this is the last part that we're doing in China right now. I'm doing a lot of things. So we are doing a 3D design center, 3D print cafe, and a 3D print museum. The 3D print museum we already opened. It's one of the first China 3D printing cultural museum. So it was actually approved by Beijing. So it's actually China with the word China on it. So we can use this to actually work with a lot of the museums to invite people to contribute like 3D printing product into the museum. So we did the interior design, we did a lot of the exhibition pieces. So if you happen to be in China, I'm happy to tour you guys in Shanghai. So most of the pieces now is mine, like is our design, but then we are start inviting all the international people contributing to this museum. So we just want to do it because I think the museum will give people understanding of what 3D printing is. And the 3D printing cafe, we already opened 4 of them in Shanghai, one of them in Hong Kong Plaza in the first city center. Most of them are exhibiting, is combined with gallery, shops, as well as cafe at the same time. And then we did a lot of these, and also we can do 3D printing cafe ripples on the coffee. So we have different kind of cafe set up in China right now. And then the last part that I want to show you is the 3D design center. This is something that I'm very focusing on right now, which I train people, and I'm actually teaching the course in October 15 here for 3D printing. And also I run a lot of different workshops, interactive robotic, and then 3D big scale, large scale 3D printing. This is actually recently finished a 16 hours print of using robot to print a 1:1 scale 3D printed furniture. Okay, and then so these are 16 hours to print it. So let me show you one of the video, and I'm done. So this is the video that we put together to show a little bit of the research that we've been doing for the past 2 or 3 months on robotic research of printing. These are the small ones, which we can do interactions and small printing like clay or some small stuff. But we need the large size robotic printer to print these furniture. So each of these is around like 15 to 16 hours. And the cost of it is around like 5,000 RMB. For the material cost. I'm just talking about the pure material cost. It's about like 4,000 to 5,000 per pieces. But you can easily sell it for like 20,000 in China. Okay. Like, I mean, we're still working on this, but that's why like the resolution of it is very, very low still. But we are looking into like changing different printing heads or working with like different way of printing. Because materials that we got every time is very different. We're testing a lot of different materials, and this is the black one was one of the best ones that we experiment right now. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. A lot of designs are impressive. Any question from the floor? Yes?
I just wonder what material you use for your wearables.
For which one?
Wearables.
The wearables.
Yes.
Right now there are two kinds of materials. I mean, you can use a lot of different materials. Like for example, jewelry. You can use metal printing for sure. But what is the latest one is in China right now. It came up. There's a company called Washu. They are from Changsha. Okay, and then they are actually creating the first TPU materials in Asia. I mean, in the States, in Europe, there are TPU from like EOS or different company, but in China, it's available now, so we don't need to use export material, import materials. So actually, in China, it's available using TPU. So it's a TPU material. It's soft and it's bendable. When you touch the skin, it's actually there's no allergy or anything. So it's just a nylon. So it's a TPU nylon material.
So you can just use the regular dyeing process, just like regular nylon?
Yes, you can actually dye it because most of the nylon are absorbable with water, so you can actually dye it with any color that you want. The best is dyeing, it's not spraying. Spraying that after a while when you scratch it, the white came out again, so you have to dye it. Sometimes it's like we dyed it with black and then sprayed it with the gold on it, so that for movie or for some show that we have to dye it. Otherwise, after a while, if it's just white, it will turn pale or without shininess.
So your suggestion is to have the product treated first and then dye it? Right?
Dyed it, yes, because only right now the available color is black and white, and also there's some color materials, but color materials sometimes it's not efficient, it's very expensive. In a way, so in terms of like your movie setup or costume or anything, we can use dyeing effects or actually use spray. But you can use multi-color printing, but it's just very expensive. Only one company has it, like Stratasys or something that you can use, get access to these soft and hard and coloring.
Any other question?
Do you estimate the number of printer that you're collaborating with?
Yes. I mean, okay. Well, there's a lot. I mean, in China, okay, we don't really work with the FDM company except for one in Zhuhai, which is a PrintRite. I think you know Hosang. They have the biggest, I guess, development of FDM machines, PrintRite. We've been working with them a lot. All the FDM are supplied by them. So they gave us all the support. They have like 50, 100 machines that all printed at once. So anytime that we do, we just send them this file and they can print it within a couple of days. Okay, so that's one in which we work quite a lot with FDM. And then in Shenzhen, there's a lot of company. There's one called like Dazel. Dazhou Daiyi. They are actually Suzhou based and Shenzhen based, and they have SLA and SLS, which is very efficiently printed. And then one of our investors in Shenzhen, Sunshine, 一个上市公司, they actually have the biggest 3D printing service in the South China right now. Okay, Sunshine Income, so Sunshine 光文达. So they actually have all the materials that we need: nylon, SLS, SLA, color, metal, ceramic. They just recently brought it, but they are the biggest person or biggest company that willing to expand in 3D printing industry. So we are actually working with them. They are actually I'm going there 2 hours from now. So they actually making the biggest facility of 3D printing in Shenzhen right now. Okay, so most of the 3D printing company are in South China, and then the other one that you are talking about, maybe it's in like surrounding Shanghai, maybe Suzhou, and then Hangzhou. There one is called Shening. They are actually very big as well. They're doing a lot of machine selling and stuff, but they're working with capitals, okay, investment, stock market. And then on the other side, on the west side, there's a lot of metal printing company and then medication company like Chongqing. They have the biggest like medical, which is like printing these tooth, like the ceramic tooth and also metal tooth. That is the biggest development there. And in Shanghai, there's also medical company. So there's everywhere around. So it's not something that, I mean, you can get all the. We spent 2 years in China trying to figure out the entire network of 3D printing. Okay, so we can get the cheapest price, the best technology, because we are content creator. So we help them. We have the market. So we are bridging the consumer, the 3D printing provider, 3D printing industry, and we are in the middle to help to bridging between the two. So that's very important because not that many people have access to this, but we spend the last 2 years to break through all this market, and then we're able to figure out what's the market for it.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. I think we have to stop here.
Okay.
Stephen and Stephen.